Thank you all for coming. I appreciate it, everybody. And welcome. This is our 15th year for Poetry Out Loud, so that's an achievement. And I really appreciate everybody coming in the audience today. It's really nice for these folks that worked really hard over the past few weeks to have folks to perform to. So thank you all for coming. My name is Troy Hickman. I'm the Arts Education Programs Manager at the Vermont Arts Council. Thanks for coming to the Barre Opera House. Appreciate Dan and everything that the Barre Opera House does for us. It's a great venue, so thank you, Barre Opera House. Every year, it seems like there's new poems that go into the anthology. Everybody's busy this time of year digging into the anthology, teachers, students, myself, looking at all the new materials. And we're all just kind of digging through, finding things that we connect with. But there's always some themes that really kind of resonate with a lot of students. I see a lot of people connecting with ideas of nature and history, and thinking about what connects us with people who have lived before us and the people that are surrounding us, and these ideas of struggles and triumphs. And it just seems like a very timely, it's timely that the Abenaki elders approached the Vermont Arts Council with this idea of a land acknowledgement. So I'd like just to start today just kind of recognizing the land that we stand on and the connection it has to the history, especially to the Abenaki people and to the Abenaki elders. And we're standing on what is the traditional and surrendered territory of the Abenaki people. And this is one of the 5 Wabanaki nations. So they've had this continual presence, continual connection with the land. We learned that Abenaki, in Abenaki Waban, is the white flickering light of the sky. Aki is a word for land or earth, so Abenaki it's the people of the dawn land. So I just want to take a moment to recognize that and think of that as we go through and listen to a lot of great poetry today. So at its core, Poetry Out Loud is a recitation contest. We've added a few new wrinkles to Poetry Out Loud this year, including some creative writing, recognizing creative writing and supporting students in that work. We've had teaching artist James Cruz and Jeff Hewitt going into classrooms and leading multi-day workshops and some poetry slams. So I really appreciate their work to help us kind of turn that corner and work in that way. We've also had, for the first time this year, we've worked with the Brattleboro Museum and Arts Center to recognize student writing. So we're recognizing 3 students today. We'll talk more about that in a little bit. And they received a $100 cash award for their poetry. So we'll recognize those students later today. I want to thank the teaching artists that go into the classrooms to do the recitation work. So thank you, Morgan Irons, Jeff Hewitt, Lizzie Fox, John Haddon, and Andy Butterfield for that work. I really appreciate everything that they bring to Poetry Out Loud. Has anybody had any of those teachers in your classroom? Yay, yeah. And let me kind of get a sense, how many of you have memorized a poem in the audience today, memorized a poem and recited it in front of somebody else? Let's hear it. Let's celebrate. All right. So I do need to recognize a very important, we have a series of funders here that I want to recognize. So thank you to the George W. Mergens Foundation for their support. We want to thank the National Endowment for the Arts, the Poetry Foundation for their sponsorship. The local sponsors include Northfield Savings Bank and Fothergill, Sagali, and Valley CPA. So thank you to them. I really appreciate it. Are you guys ready? Students, competitors, ready? Judges, feeling good? All right, so I'd like to welcome, we have a host for today. I also want to thank folks that are joining us through the live stream on Facebook. We'll archive the video, so maybe on your ride home you can watch the event again. So keep that in mind. It'll be archived on Facebook. I do want to welcome to the stage, we have a host and MC for today. He has appeared in multiple productions with the Middlebury Actors Workshop, with Vermont Stage Productions. He is the marketing director at the Weston Playhouse. His resume includes a year with the American Conservatory Theater in San Francisco. He has television credits, including a role on NBC's Medium and he is a key part of everything that we do with Poetry Out Loud. So please welcome Andy Butterfield.
Thanks, Troy. Hello, everybody. I think this is my sixth year working in some capacity with Poetry Out Loud, either as a teaching artist in the classrooms. I've served on a judging panel once, and due to a snowstorm, and have emceed the event the last few years. So it's really impressive to me every year what these students are capable of doing. And the mere act of being up here, of having chosen a poem that they connect with in a personal way, and then reciting that poem in front of you is a very vulnerable thing, and a very powerful thing, and a very brave thing to do. And just you guys being here, you are school champions, and you should be celebrated for that. And I'm just really proud of you for even coming up here and participating today. Thank you, guys. Between this morning and this afternoon, we will have had 27 students come onto this stage and deliver a poem. To do this, they have delved into poetry, found a poem with which they connected, learned it, practiced it, channeled it, presented it, dug deeper into it. I'm sure they presented it again, and as you will see, they became masters of their poems. I also want to thank the 125 teachers from across the state that brought poetry into their schools through Poetry Out Loud this year. Are there any teachers with us here today? If there are, just please stand up. We got to give you guys a shout. It is a logistical challenge for these teachers to do this, and they do an amazing job. So thank you for taking the time and care to organize programs and competitions and to usher in this extraordinary cast of students here today. So each of today's regional semifinal events is split into 2 rounds. Students will recite a poem in the first round, and then another as they move through the order a second time. The names of the students as well as the order of the presentations can be found in your program. The 5 students in this region with the highest cumulative score will move on to the state championship, which will be held in partnership with Vermont PBS on Thursday, March 16th at the studios of Vermont PBS. The event will be live streamed, and professionally edited clips will be made available for students to have and to share across their social channels. One of those 10 students will then earn the honor of representing the state of Vermont at the National Poetry Out Loud competition in Washington, D.C. in April. Each recitation will be evaluated using the following criteria: physical presence, voice and articulation, dramatic appropriateness, evidence of understanding, overall performance, and accuracy. Evaluating today's recitations is not an easy task, which is why we have assembled this esteemed panel of judges here in front of me, who I'm going to introduce and would like to thank right now. And we're going to start with Brett Stanchu. Brett? Brett is a published author, poet, and librarian. She lives in Hardwick, where she writes, gardens, and contributes to her blog, Stony Soil Vermont, which you can check out. She writes regularly for State 14 and Kids VT as well. Her novel about a Vermont family, From Hidden View, was published by Green Writers Press in 2015, and her latest novel, A Good and Hard Place, exploring the troubled heart of America in small-town Vermont, will be released by Steerforth Press. Next, we have Rajni Edens. Rajni is a poet, musician, and teaching artist. He was the youngest member of the African American Writers Alliance at age 11 and has been actively sharing with youth and community in Vermont since 2010. His latest work, Their Names Are Mine, aims to confront white supremacy while emphasizing the need to affirm our mutual humanity. He can be found at Light Club Lamp Shop in Burlington, where he hosts the Voices of Color Showcase. Next, we have Vera Escaja Heiss. If you are a student or teacher who's been here before, you might recognize Vera as Vermont's Poetry Out Loud champion in both 2018 and 2019. Vera also placed in the top 10 at the national contest both years. When asked, yeah, that's huge. When asked if she had advice for future Poetry Out Loud contestants, listen up, Vera said, "There's nothing to lose, and that feeling that everyone is listening to the words coming out of your mouth is such a good feeling. So enjoy it." Okay. Next, we have Toussaint Saint Negritude. Toussaint is a poet, musician, and teaching artist. He's published poems in Michigan Quarterly Review, Birch Song, Philadelphia Stories, and the Savannah Literary Journal, to name a few. Toussaint served as the former Poet Laureate of Belfast, Maine, and has served as a Poetry Out Loud judge in Maine's regional competitions. Over here, we have Morgan Irons. Morgan has been part of our Vermont Poetry Out Loud program from the start. Today, she's our accuracy judge. In this program, she has served as the state coordinator for several years, and she's also a teaching artist, actor, and director who has led poetry performance residencies throughout the state. Thank you to all our judges. I also want to acknowledge Michelle Bailey. There's Michelle. So Michelle is here to offer a prompt or a word at the request of any student during their recitation. Special thanks to the Barre Opera House for hosting us, and to Rick McMahon for streaming the event live on Facebook, and to Sam Simon, our photographer. Photos of the event will be made available to all of the participants. As we prepare for our first recitation, I would ask that you turn off your cell phone, and that you not enter or exit the auditorium during a recitation so as to not distract the competitors. If you need to leave during a recitation, please do so through the back house right door. Once again, this is a great time to turn off your cell phones. Okay. If our judges are ready and our students are ready, we're going to begin the first round of competition. Our first competitor comes to us from Brattleboro Union High School, Ada Melton Houghton.
Acquainted with the Night by Robert Frost. I have been one acquainted with the night. I have walked out in rain and back in rain. I have outwalked the farthest city light. I have looked down the saddest city lane. I have passed by the watchman on his beat and dropped my eyes, unwilling to explain. I have stood still and stopped the sound of feet. When far away, an interrupted cry came over houses from another street, but not to call me back or say goodbye. And farther still, at an unearthly height, one luminary clock against the sky proclaimed the time was neither wrong nor right. I have been one acquainted with the night.
From Bellows Free Academy, St. Albans, Adsel Sparrow.
Turtle Came to See Me by Margarita Engel. The first story I ever write is a bright crayon picture of a dancing tree the branches tossed by island wind. I draw myself standing beside the tree, with a colorful parrot soaring above me, and a magical turtle clasped in my hand, and 2 yellow wings fluttering on the proud shoulders of my ruffled Cuban rumba dancer's fancy dress. In my California kindergarten class, the teacher scolds me. "Real trees don't look like that!" It's the moment when I first begin to learn that teachers can be wrong. They have never seen the dancing plants of Cuba.
From Woodstock Union High School, Sam Powers.
Aria by David Barber. What if it were possible to vanquish all this shame with a wash of varnish, instead of wishing the stain would vanish? What if you gave it a glossy finish? What if there were a way to burnish all this foolishness, all the anguish? What if you gave yourself leave to ravish all these ravages with famished relish? What if this were your way to flourish? What if the self you love to punish, navish, peevish, wolfish, sheepish, were all slicked up in something lavish? Why so squeamish? Why make a fetish out of everything you must relinquish? Why not embellish what you can't abolish? What would be left if you couldn't brandish all the slavishness you failed to banish? What would you be without this gibberish? What if the true worth of the varnish were to replenish your resolve, to vanquish every vain wish before you vanish?
From Burr and Burton Academy, Aaron Norton.
Oranges by Royce and Kelly. I'll choose for myself next time who I'll reach out and take as mine, in the way I might stand at a fruit stall, having decided to ignore the apples, the mangoes, and the kiwis, but hold my hands above a pile of oranges as if to warm my skin before a fire. Not only have I chosen oranges, but I'll also choose which orange. I'll test a few for firmness, scrape some rind off with my fingernails so that a citrus scent will linger there all day. I won't be happy with the first one I pick, but will try different ones until I know you. How will I know you? You'll feel warm between my palms, and I'll cup you like a handful of holy water. A vision will come to me of your exotic land, the sun you swelled under, the tree you grew from. A drift of white blossoms from the orange tree will settle in my hair, and I'll know. This is how I will choose you, by feeling you, smelling you, by slipping you into my coat. Maybe then I'll climb the hill, look down on the town we live in with sunlight on my face and a miniature sun burning a hole in my pocket. Thirsty, I'll suck the juice from it, from you. When I walk away, I'll leave behind a trail of lamp-bright rind.
From Arlington Memorial High School, Ariana Barrios.
The Barnacle by A.E. Stallings. The barnacle is rather odd. It's not related to the clam or limpet. It's an arthropod. though, one that doesn't give a damn. Cousin to the crab and shrimp. When larval, it can twitch and swim and make decisions. Tiny imp that flits according to its whim. Once grown, with nothing more to prove, it hunkers down and will remain stuck fast. And once it does not move, has no more purpose for a brain. Its one boast is, it will not budge. Cemented where it chanced to sink. Sclerotic, stubborn as a grudge. Settled. It does not need to think.
From the Stratton Mountain School, Elliot Dellinger.
What It Does by David Ferry. The sea bit, as they said it would, and the hill slid, as they said it would. And the poor dead nodded agog the poor head. O topmost lofty Tower of Troy, the poem apparently speaks with joy of terrible things. Where is the pleasure the poetry brings? Tell if you can. What does it make? A city of man that will not shake. Or if it shake, shake with the splendor of the poem's pleasure. Thank you.
From Rice Memorial High School, Fred Polin.
Writing by Howard Nemeroff. The cursive crawl, the squared-off characters, these by themselves delight. Even without a meaning, in a foreign language, in Chinese, for instance, or when skaters curve all day across the lake, scoring their white records in ice. Being intelligible, these winding ways with their audacities and delicate hesitations, they become miraculous. So intimately, out there at the pen's point or brush's tip, do world and spirit wed. The small bones of the wrist balance against great skeletons of stars. Exactly. The blind bat surveys his way by echo alone. Still, the point of style is character. The universe induces a different tremor in every hand. From the check forgers to that of the Emperor Hui Sung, who called his own calligraphy the slender gold. A nervous man writes nervously of a nervous world, and so on. Miraculous. It is as though the world were a great writing. Having said so much, let us allow there is more to the world than writing. Continental faults are not bare, convoluted fissures in the brain. Not only must the skaters soon go home, also the hard inscription of their skates is scored across the open water, which long remembers nothing, neither wind nor wake.
From Champlain Valley Union High School, Ethan Lyle.
So this is Nebraska by Ted Kuser. The gravel road rides with a slow gallop over the fields, the telephone lines streaming behind, its billow of dust full of the sparks of red-winged blackbirds. On either side, those dear old ladies, the loosening barns, their little windows dulled by cataracts of hay and cobwebs, hide broken tractors under their skirts. So this is Nebraska, a Sunday afternoon, July. Driving along with your hand out, grasping the air. A meadowlark waiting on every post. Behind a shelter belt of cedars, top deep in pollen and bees and hollyhocks, a pickup kicks its fenders off and settles back to read the clouds. You feel like that. You feel like letting your tires go flat, like letting the mice build a nest in your muffler, like being no more than a truck in the weeds. Sticky with honey, or clucking with chickens, or holding a skinny old man in your lap while he watches the road, waiting for someone to wave to. You feel like waving. You feel like stopping your car and dancing about on the road. You wave instead, leaving your hand out, gliding, lark-like, over the wheat, over the houses. Thank you.
From U32 High School, Elijah Hankins.
The Charge of the Light Brigade by Lord Alfred Tennyson. Half a league, half a league, half a league onward, all in the valley of death rode the 600. Forward the Light Brigade, charge for the guns, he said. Into the valley of death rode the 600. Forward the Light Brigade, was there a man dismayed? Not though the soldiers knew someone had blundered. There's not to make reply, there's not to reason why, there's but to do and die. Into the valley of death rode the 600. Cannon to right of them, cannon to left of them, cannon in front of them, volleyed and thundered. Stormed out with shot and shell, boldly they rode and well. Into the jaws of death, into the mouth of hell rode the 600. Flashed all their sabres bare, flashed as they turned in air, sabring the gunners there, charging an army while all the world wondered. Right through the line they broke, Cossack and Russian reeled from the sabre stroke, shattered and sundered. Then they rode back, but not the 600. Cannon to right of them, cannon to left of them, cannon behind them volleyed and thundered, stormed out with shot and shell, while horse and hero fell. They that had fought so well came through the jaws of death back from the mouth of hell, all that was left of them, left of 600. When can their glory fade? Oh, the wild charge they made, all the world wondered. Honor the charge they made, honor the Light Brigade, noble 600.
From Green Mountain Union High School, Riley Thomas.
How to Triumph Like a Girl by Ada Limon. I like the lady horses best. How they make it all look easy.
like running 40 miles per hour is as fun as taking a nap or grass. I like their lady horse swagger after winning Ears Up, girls, ears up. But mainly, let's be honest, I like that they're ladies. As if this big, dangerous animal is also a part of me. That somewhere inside the delicate skin of my body, there pumps an 8-pound female horse heart, giant with power, heavy with blood. Don't you want to believe it? Don't you want to lift my shirt and see the huge, beating, genius machine that thinks? No. It knows it's going to come in first.
From the Vermont Academy, Eliza Asante.
In the Desert by Stephen Crane. In the desert, I saw a creature, naked, bestial, who squatting upon the ground, held his heart into his hand and ate of it. I said, "Is it good, friend?" "It is bitter. Bitter," he answered, "but I like it because it is bitter and because it is my heart."
Okay, so we're going to move on to the second round of the competition. Remember that the 5 students with the highest cumulative score will advance to the state championship. From Brattleboro Union High School is Ada Melton Houghton. Ada is passionate about criminal justice reform and thinks the criminal justice system in this country is, frankly, horrifying. Ada.
Invictus by William Ernest Henley. Out of the night that covers me, black as the pit from pole to pole, I thank whatever gods may be for my unconquerable soul. In the fell clutch of circumstance, I have not winced nor cried aloud. Under the bludgeonings of chance, my head is bloodied but unbowed. Beyond this place of wrath and tears looms but the horror of the shade, and yet the menace of the years finds and shall find me unafraid. It matters not how straight the gate, how charged with punishments the scroll. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul.
Next up is Iris O'Brien from Poultney High School. Iris would like to invent a device that would completely block all noises, allowing someone to sit in silence while meditating, reading, or just lying in bed. Iris.
The Tide Rises, the Tide Falls by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. The tide rises, the tide falls. The twilight darkens, the curlew calls. Along the seashore, damp and brown, a traveler hastens towards the town. And the tide rises, the tide falls. Darkness settles on roofs and walls, but the sea in the darkness calls. The little waves with their soft white hands efface the footprints in the sands, and the tide rises, the tide falls. The morning breaks, the steeds in their stalls stamp and neigh as the hostler calls. The day returns, but nevermore, returns the traveler to the shore, and the tide rises, the tide falls.
Next up is Adsel Sparrow from Bellows Free Academy, St. Albans. Something Adsel would like to invent is a self-teleporter, so she wouldn't have to drive anywhere. Adsel.
I am offering this poem by Jimmy Santiago Baca. I am offering this poem to you, since I have nothing else to give. Keep it like a warm coat when winter comes to cover you, or like a pair of thick socks the cold cannot bite through. I love you. I have nothing else to give you, so it is a pot full of yellow corn to warm your belly in winter. It is a scarf for your head to wear over your hair, to tie up around your face. I love you. Keep it. Treasure this as you would if you were lost, needing direction in the wilderness life becomes when mature, and in the corner of your drawer, tucked away, like a cabin or hogan in dense trees. Come knocking, and I will answer, give you directions, and let you warm yourself by this fire, rest by this fire, and make you feel safe. I love you. It's all I have to give, and all anyone needs to live, and to go on living inside. When the world outside no longer cares if you live or die, remember, I love you.
Up next is Sam Powers from Woodstock Union High School. Sam would like to invent a pot that self-stirs using the steam from whatever is being boiled in the pot. When asked what he's passionate about, he said, the aforementioned pot idea. It is a good idea. Sam.
America, I Sing You Back by Allison Adele Hedge Koch. America, I sing back. Sing back what sung you in. Sing back the moment you cherished breath. Sing you home into yourself and back to reason. Before America began to sing, I sung her to sleep. Held her cradleboard, wept her into day. My song gave her creation. Prepared her delivery, held her severed cord beautifully beaded. My song helped her stand, held her hand for first steps, nourished her very being, fed her, placed her three sisters strong. My song comforted her as she battled my reason, broke my long-held footing sure as any child might do. As she pushed herself away, forced me to remove myself, as I cried this country, my song grew roses in each tear's fall. My blood-veined rivers painted pipestone quarries, circled canyons, while she made herself maiden fine. But here I am, here I am, here I remain, high on each and every peak, carefully rumbling her great underbelly, prepared to pour forth singing. And sing again I will, as I have always done, never silenced, unless in the company of strangers, singing the stoic face polite repose, polite while dancing deep inside, polite mother of her world, sister of myself. When my song sings aloud again, when I call her back to cradle, call her to peer into waters, to behold herself in dark and light, day and night. Call her to sing along. Call her to mature, to envision. Then she will quake herself over. My song will make it so. When she grows far past her self-considered purpose, I will sing her back. Sing her back. I will sing. Oh, I will. I do. America, I sing back. Sing back what's sung you in.
Next up is Aiden Colai from Milton High School. If exiled to an island, Aiden would bring a generator, a phone, and a router. Aiden.
Aria by David Barber. What if it were possible to vanquish all this shame with a wash of varnish instead of wishing the stain would vanish? What if you gave it a glossy finish? What if there were a way to burnish all this foolishness, all the anguish? What if you gave yourself leave to ravish all these ravages with famished relish? What if this were your way to flourish? What if the self you love to punish, knavish, peevish, wolfish, sheepish, were all slicked up in something lavish? Why so squeamish? Why make a fetish out of everything you must relinquish? Why not embellish what you can't abolish? What would be left if you couldn't brandish all the slavishness you failed to banish? What would you be without this gibberish? What if the true worth of the varnish were to replenish your resolve to vanquish every vain wish before you vanish?
Next, we have Aaron Norton from Burr and Burton Academy. Aaron is very passionate about writing, especially theatrical writing, prose, and even poetry. Aaron.
I Remember by Thomas Hood. I remember the house where I was born, the little window where the sun came peeping in at morn. He never came a wink too soon, nor brought too long a day, but now I often wish the night had borne my breath away. I remember the roses, red and white, the violets and the lily cups, those flowers made of light. The lilacs where the robin built and where my brother set the laburnum on his birthday, the trees living yet. I remember where I used to swing and thought the air must rush as fresh to swallows on the wing. My spirit flew in feathers then, but is so heavy now, and summer pools could hardly cool the fever on my brow. I remember fir trees, dark and high. I used to think their slender tops were close against the sky. It was childish ignorance, but now 'tis little joy to know I'm farther off from heaven than when I was a boy.
Next is Ariana Barrios from Arlington Memorial High School. Ariana would like to have the power to shift between different states of matter, be it solid, liquid, or gas, anywhere, at any time. Ariana.
No, I wasn't meant to love and be loved. By Mirza Asadullah Khan Ghalib, translated by Vijay Seshadri. No, I wasn't meant to love and be loved. If I'd lived longer, I would have waited longer. Knowing you are faithless keeps me alive and hungry. Knowing you faithful would kill me with joy. Delicate are you, and your vows are delicate too. So easily do they break. You are a laconic marksman. You leave me not dead, but perpetually dying. I want my friends to heal me, succor me. Instead, I get analysis, conflagrations that would make stones drip blood are campfires compared to my anguish, two-headed, inescapable anguish, love's anguish or the anguish of time. Another dark, severing, incommunicable night. Death would be fine if I only died once. I would have liked a solitary death, not this lavish funeral, this grave anyone can visit. You are mystical, Khalid, and also you speak beautifully. Are you a saint or just drunk as usual?
Next up is Elliot Dellinger from Stratton Mountain School. Elliot prefers tulips to roses. Elliot.
A Country Boy in Winter by Sarah Orne Jewett. The wind may blow the snow about for all I care, says Jack, and I don't mind how cold it grows, for then the ice won't crack. Old folks may shiver all day long, but I shall never freeze. What cares a jolly boy like me for winter days like these? Far down the long snow-covered hills, it is such fun to coast. So clear the road. The fastest sled there is in school, I boast. The paint is pretty well worn off. Then I take the lead. A dandy sled's a loiter, and I go in for speed. When I go home at supper time, gee, but my cheeks are red. They burn and sting like anything. I'm cross until I'm fed. You ought to see the biscuit go, I'm so hungry then. And old Aunt Polly says, boys, eat twice as much as men. There's always something I can do to pass the time away. The dark comes quick in wintertime, a short and stormy day. And when I give my mind to it, it's just as Father says, I almost do a man's work now and help him in many ways. I shall be glad when I grow up and get all through with school. I'll show them by and by that I was not meant for a fool. I'll take the crops off this old farm. I'll do the best I can. A jolly boy like me won't be a dolt when he's a man. I like to hear the old horse neigh just as I come in sight. The oxen poke me with their horn to get their hay at night. Somehow, the animals seem like friends and like to see me come. Some folks talk about New York, but I she'll stay at home.
Up next is Fred Polin from Rice Memorial High School. Fred is passionate about science, theater, and ultimate frisbee. Fred.
A Poison Tree by William Blake. I was angry with my friend. I told my wrath did end. I was angry with my foe. I told it not. My wrath did grow. And I watered it in fears, night and morning with my tears. And I sunned it with smiles and with soft, deceitful wiles. And it grew both day and night, till it bore an apple, bright. And my foe beheld it shine, and he knew that it was mine. And into my garden stole, when the night had veiled the pole. In the morning, glad, I see my foe outstretched beneath the tree.
Next is Ethan Lyle from Champlain Valley Union High School. Ethan is passionate about waking up early to ski and being on the mountain until he can't feel his toes. Ethan.
To the Notebook Kid by Eve L. Ewing. Yo, chocolate milk for breakfast, kid. One leg of your sweatpants rolled up, scrounging at the bottom of your mama's purse for bus fare and gum. Pen broke, and you got ink on your thumb, kid. What's good? Hopped on the cement, kid. White Castle, kid. Tongue stained purple, cussing on the court till your little brother shows up with half a candy bar, kid. Got that good B in science, kid. You earned it, kid. Etch your name in a tree. Hug your granny on her birthday. Think of Alaska when they shootin'. Curled up dreams of salmon. Safety. Tundra. Farthest away place you ever saw in a book. Polar bears, your new chess partner. Pickaxe in the ice. Northern Lights, kid. Keep your notebook where your cousins won't find it. You can leave it on my desk if you want. Shuffle under carbon paper and a stamp that screams late. Yellow and red to draw the eye from the ocean you keep hidden in a jacked up 5-star. Your mama thought there was a secret in there, thought they would laugh. But that ain't it. It's that flows and flows and flows, and lines like those ripped rolling bits you got, bars till the end of time you could rap, like helium about to spring, all of it, down to you. None left in the sun, fuelless. While the last light pushes from your belly, climbing your ribs, and you laugh into the microphone. And who is ready for that? Thank you.
Next, and with the final recitation of the afternoon, Eliza Asante from Vermont Academy. Eliza is passionate about dance, theater, basketball, and poetry, and working hard to accomplish her goals. Eliza.
The Coming Woman by Mary Wednesday Fordham. Just look, 'tis 6:15, love, and not even the fires are caught. Well, you know I must be at the office But as usual, the breakfast still be late. Now hurry and wake up the children and dress them as fast as you can. Poor dearies, I know they'll be tardy. Dear me, what a slow-poking man. Had the tenderloin broiled nice and juicy. Had the toast brown and buttered all right. And be sure you settle the coffee. Be sure that the silver is bright. When ready, just run up and call me. At 8, to the office I go. Lest poverty grim should overtake us. 'Tis bread and butter, you know? The bottom from stocks may fall out. My bonds may get below par. Then surely I seldom could spare you a nickel to buy a cigar. All ready? Now, while I am eating, just bring up my will to the door. Then, wash up the dishes. And mind now, have dinner properly at 4. For tonight is our women's convention, and I am to speak first. No, the men veto us in private, but in public they shout, that's so. So bye-bye. In case of a rap love, before opening the door, you must look. Oh, how could a civilized woman exist without a man cook?
All right. You guys, that was tremendous. Let's give these students another round of applause. Congratulations. It was so good. Literal round of applause. I saw that. Nice. While our tabulation team pulls together the final numbers, I'd like to introduce to you the Executive Director of the Vermont Arts Council, Karen Middleman.
Thank you. And I would like to ask for a round of applause for our brilliant MC, Andy Butterfield. And also for Troy Hickman, who has choreographed not only today's event and the finals coming up, but the entire statewide Poetry Out Loud competition. Troy? It won't surprise you to learn that some of the remarkable students who participate in Poetry Out Loud, in addition to mastering the art of poetry recitation, are also wonderful creative writers themselves. And I'm very pleased to say that this year, for the first time, the Vermont Arts Council partnered with the Scholastic Art and Writing Awards issued by the Brattleboro Museum to give the first Poetry Out Loud Creative Writing Awards. This year, 3 students are being recognized for their exceptional poems. The 3 students are Samantha Aiken from Mount Mansfield Union High School for her poem, The Way the Flood Rises. Aaron Brown from Vermont Academy for his poem, Freckles. And Sophie Leggett from Woodstock Union High School for her poem, Heartstrings in Short. Congratulations to all 3 of these very talented young people. One of the things I really appreciate each year about Poetry Out Loud is the way that it brings us all together. Young people, your families, teachers, community members, and we're connected for a few hours together as a community while we listen to these remarkable, talented young people read aloud words that spoke to them. Each of these students is reading words that were written by somebody else, often in another time or another place remote from ours, that somehow reached up off the page and grabbed them. The way that art can grab us and reveal something that we suddenly discover that we need to share with each other. That process of sharing our own vulnerability through the work of a great artist, whether it's a painting or a sculpture or a poem like the ones that you've heard today, creates a powerful sense of connection and community. Poetry allows us to find ourselves in each other's words. James Baldwin once said that as a young man, he felt he was alone in the world until he discovered literature. Here's the exact quote, which I find myself returning to again and again. You think that your pain and your heartbreak are unprecedented in the history of the world, but then you read. It was Dostoevsky and Dickens who taught me that the things that tormented me were the very things that connected me with all the people who were alive or who had ever been alive. That recognition of ourselves in the words of someone else and someone else's experience is something that this country and this world needs urgently right now. And I hope that for each of the students who participated in Poetry Out Loud today, that during the many weeks and months of preparation, as you selected your poem, as you memorized those words and internalized them over and over again, that each of you had a moment like the moment that Baldwin describes, when you felt that deep recognition of your own experience and your own aliveness in someone else's words. Each of you brought that on stage with you here this afternoon with eloquence and courage. So I want you to know that that was a true gift to all of us, and I'm very grateful. It's a reminder of the ways that art binds us together as a community. It's one of just many, many reasons that we need art in our lives. So on behalf of the Vermont Arts Council, thank you all. And now I'm pleased to bring Andy back on stage to present some certificates to the young people who participated today.
Yes, students, why don't you come on up here and stay in the order of your recitations. We're going to present each of these students with a certificate to recognize their success. And I just want to remind or tell you that thousands of students participated in this program across the state, reciting poetry in their schools. And today's event brought together only 27 of those students. So they really are champions, and congratulations. As I call your name, please come forward to receive your certificate and take a quick photo with Sam, who's right there, to share with your family and friends and across your social. Ada Melton Houghton. Iris O'Brien. Adsel Sparrow. Sam Powers. Aiden Colai. Aaron Norton. Ariana Barrios. Elliot Dellinger. Fred Polin. Ethan Lyle. Elijah Hankins. Riley Thomas. And Eliza Asante. Okay, so I've just got the results. I'm going to ask all of the students to go stage left and hang out in that wing. Don't leave, just stay over there. I'm going to read the names in no particular order of the 5 finalists who will be moving on to the state championship at the Vermont PBS Studios in Colchester on March 16th. As well as an alternate should one of the 5 finalists not be able to participate. So if I call your name, please come out here, and if everybody can wait until all 5 finalists are announced, we'll get a group photo also of you, okay? So first I'm going to announce the alternate. The alternate is Ariana Barrios from Arlington Memorial High School. That's perfect right there. Okay. The first finalist, in no particular order, is Eliza Asante from Vermont Academy. Ethan Lyle from Champlain Valley Union High School. Aiden Kolai from Milton High School. Fred Polin from Rice Memorial High School. And Sam Powers from Woodstock High School. So these are your finalists. You want to hang out right there. Sam's going to get a nice photo of you guys. I'd like to congratulate our finalists and thank all of our competitors. If you would like to attend the state championship on March 16th at the studios of Vermont PBS, please contact Troy Hickman at the Vermont Arts Council. The event will be streamed live on the Vermont Poetry Out Loud Facebook page beginning at 5 p.m. Student orientation begins at 4 p.m. and the doors open to the public at 4:30. Thank you for being here. We hope to see you at the state championship where one of these students may become the next Poetry Out Loud state champion. Congratulations.